Hello, I am petroonishchuk. This video will be speaking about confirmation dialog. In this video, I try to explain how you can use confirmation dialog in your SwiftUI project. And also, I will speak about action sheet. I will be speaking about action sheet because action sheet is the old version of our confirmation dialog. And now, when you try to use action sheet in your SwiftUI project, SwiftUI will be telling you action sheet will be deprecated in future iOS version. Now I'll be using Xcode 13.2 iOS 15. Okay, let's start. For start, I must create a new project. For example, now you can see I create a new project. Name of my project, confirmation dialog in SwiftUI 01. With this project, we will create our application. With our application, we can display list of users. And then, when we try to create a new user in our application, it will show our confirmation dialog. And we will be select save new user or don't save a new user. For this, we must create model and ViewModel. Model for create our user object, and our ViewModel will behold list of our users and also will behold couple methods. For example, how you can see, I create model and ViewModel. For model, we'll be using our user structure. This structure will be create our user object. How you can see, our structure hold couple property, ID, name, and symbol. And also, we create our user view model. Our user view model hold our list of users. List of users is array of our user object. And also, we have two methods. First method, append new user. This method will be take and put a new user in our list of user array. And also, we have method clean user field. With this method, we will clean field what we using for create a new user object. Okay, this is our user model and user view model. And next, I want to create couple view and explain how we can use confirmation dialog in your SwiftUI project. For example, Now I want to explain what I create. First, you can see I create main configuration dialog view. This view will be displayed first when we run our application. Next, inside our confirmation dialog abstraction, I create state object. This state object called our user view model. How you can see, I take our user view model and put inside environment object. That means I will be using this object inside our application, where I will be create our user. Next, you can see our main confirmation dialog view have navigation view. Inside navigation view, we have a list with two navigation links. First link to our confirmation dialog view. With this view, I will be explain how work our confirmation dialog in our SwiftUI project. Second link to our old action sheet view. With this view, I will be explain how work action sheet in our SwiftUI project. I explain about action sheet because action sheet is old version of our confirmation dialog. First, I want to explain how work confirmation dialog with our confirmation dialog view. Now, let's see what we have inside our confirmation dialog view. How you can see, first we have couple properties. First property, environment object. This property holds our user view model. How you can see, we put this object inside our environment object inside our abstraction. Next, how you can see, we have couple property for create a new user. How you can see, we have property for create a new username, a new user symbol, and also for a new user object. And also we have property show confirmation dialog with boolean value. With this property will be display or not display our confirmation dialog. If our property is false, we don't display our confirmation dialog. When we set this property to true, that means we want to display our confirmation dialog. Next, we have a list. Inside the list, we have with tag and for structure. Let's start with this tag. Inside this tag, we have two text fields and button. First text field for input our username, second text field for set our user symbol, and also we have a button. With this button, we will be create our new user object and also reset a command for display our confirmation dialog. How you can see, when we tap button create user, we take a new name for our user, we take a new symbol for our user, and also we create a new user object. How you can see, we set our new user object to our new user property inside our structure. And then we set our value in our property show confirmation dialog to true. That means we want to display our confirmation dialog. Next, I set up our button. Next, we have our for structure. With this structure will be display a list with our user what we create inside our application. In first time, this list will be empty. And then when we create a new user, will be displayed this user with our for structure. How you can see, will be displayed name and symbol for each user what we create. Next, how you can see, we have our confirmation dialog. Our confirmation dialog have couple parameters. First parameter is title. We set value, create a new user. Second parameter is present. This parameter take a property what called our boolean value. If value is true, we display our confirmation dialog. If our value is false, we don't display our confirmation dialog. By default, our value is false. Next parameter, title visibility. With this parameter, we want to display this title or want to not display this title. I set to display this title for our confirmation dialog. Second parameter, presented. This parameter take our user object. This user object is source of truth of our confirmation dialog. How you can see, we take this parameter and then we using this user object inside our confirmation dialog. How you can see, we using this object inside our action parameters and also inside our message parameters. Next parameter is action. How you can see, inside action, I using our user object, what we put inside our presenting parameters. How you can see, inside our action parameters, I create a two button. First button for save user. With this button, we will save new user inside our list of user inside our user view model. How you can see, we take our user, what we put inside our confirmation dialog, new user, and then we put inside our user view model. How you can see, we use the method append new user. How you can see, this method takes this user and then append to our array. At the end, how you can see, we clean field what we using for create a new user object. How you can see, we clean new username, new user symbol, and new user object. We clean this field after we save a new user inside our application. And also we have a second button. Second button have role descriptive. With this button, we don't save any user. With this button, we clean field what we using for create a new user. For example, when we try to create a new user, at the end, we don't want to save this user, we tap this button and the end we clean field what we used before for create a new user. This is our second button. How you can see, we create a 2 button, but when we run our simulator, we can see not 2 buttons, we can see a 3 button, because SwiftUI create third button cancel by default. Third button cancel don't do anything. This simply cancel our action. At the end we have parameters message. Inside these parameters we can also using our user object. How you can see, with these parameters we can simply display big message inside our confirmation dialog. How you can see, I display message, do you want to create user with name user.name. Okay, this is our confirmation dialog. And now when I run the application and I show you how look our confirmation dialog and how you can use it inside SwiftUI project. For example, okay, I run a simulator and now first you can see our main confirmation dialog. You can see the list with our 2 navigation links. First link to our confirmation dialog view, second link to our old action sheet view. First we move to our confirmation dialog view. Now you can see this is our confirmation dialog view. This is form for create a new user. And now I try to create a new user and show you how look our confirmation dialog. For example, and now you can see when I try to create a new user Oliver, at top button create user, we show our confirmation dialog. This is our title, create a new user. Next we have a message, do you want to create a new user with name Oliver? This is our message. And we have a 2 buttons. First button for save user, second button for get this user. Now when we tap our save button user, we must display this user inside our list what we display with our for structure. And also, how you can see, we have a third button cancel. This button simply cancel our action and don't do anything. And now I try to save our user. For example, how you can see, when I tap save user, we have our user in our list. That means our confirmation dialog with button save user work correctly. And now I try to another user and using another button, forget this user, and see what happened. For example, now you can see I try to create a new user, Olivia, and now I tap button forget this user. That means I want to save this user. For example, you can see we simply clean field what we using for create a new user and don't save this user. And also when we tap button cancel, we don't do anything. For example, and now when I try to create a new user Levi and tap button cancel, we do nothing and our field don't clean. For example, now you can see we already have our user Levi and symbol, but don't save this user, and also we don't clean this field because cancel button do nothing, only cancel our confirmation dialog. Okay, this is our confirmation dialog view. And now I want to show you how look our active sheet. Active sheet very similar like our confirmation dialog. For example, okay, this is our old active sheet view. In this view, I will be show you how to display our active sheet in our SwiftUI project. How you can see, our view very similar. We have the same property. First property, environment object for hold our user view model, and also we have property for create a new user symbol, and also for create a new user object. And also we have property show active sheet with boolean value. Next for view we using our list with this tag and with for structure. Inside this tag we have 2 text fields for create a new username and also for create a new user symbol. And also we create a button. With this button we will create our new user. How you can see, inside button we have a 2 variants for display our active sheet. First variant when we assign value to our new user property. And also second variant when we set value to true inside our show active sheet property. And also we have for structure. With this structure will be display list of our user what we say inside our list of user inside our user view model. Now I try to explain how you can display active sheet when we set value to true inside our show active sheet property. How you can see this our active sheet. And then our active sheet take property show active sheet. If our property is false, we don't display active sheet. If our property is true, we display active sheet. How you can see, when we tap this button and set value to true, That means we want to display our active sheet. And then we display our active sheet view. Inside our active sheet view, we have a couple parameters. First is title, second is message for our active sheet, and also we have a button. How you can see, I create a 3 button. First button for create a user. How you can see, we take a new username, a new user symbol, and then we create a new user object. And after we create a new user object, we use our user view model and put this user object inside our list. How you can see, we use our append method and append new user inside our list of users. And then we clean field what we're using for create a new user. Second button for get this user. This button don't say our user. This button clean field what we're using for create a new user. And also we have a button cancel. With this button we don't save any user, we do nothing, we only cancel our active sheet. And now I run a simulator and show you how look our active sheet, and you can see it's very similar like our confirmation dialog. For example. And now you can see we run our simulator, and now I move to our active sheet view. This is our form for create a new user with 2 text fields and button. And now I try to create a new user and show you how look our active sheet. For example. Now you can see when I try to create a new user Luna with symbol and tap button create user, we show our active sheet. Our active sheet looks similar with our confirmation dialog because this is the old variant of our confirmation dialog. And now you can see we have our title create a new user, and also we have a message, do you want to create a new user with name Luna, and also we have our button. First button create user, forget this user and cancel. And now when we tap create user, we must display this user in our list. For example, how you can see we display our user Luna in our list. This means our active sheet work correctly and also our button work correctly. Okay, this is our first variant how we can display active sheet by set value to true inside our show active sheet property. But we have another way when we set value to our new user object. For example, and now you can see in this time when I want to display our active sheet, we're using our new user property. How you can see, we create our new user, we take our new name, new symbol, and also we assign a new user to our new user property. And then when we assign value to our new user property, we use this property for display our active sheet. How you can see, we're using this item. And then we have our active sheet. Next, our active sheet will be similar like our previously variant. How you can see, our active sheet take parameter new user object. When our new user object don't nil, we display our active sheet. And then we have a content. Inside content, we have our active sheet view. Our active sheet view have a title, create a new user, have a message, do you want to create a new user with name? And also we have couple buttons. First button for create a new user, second button for forget this user by cleaning field what we're using when we create our new user, and also cancel button for cancel our active sheet. And now I run the simulator and you can see how our active sheet looks similar like our previously active sheet and also our confirmation dialog. For example, now you can see we run our simulator and move to our active sheet view. Now I try to create a new user. For example, how you can see, when I try to create a new user area, we display our active sheet. We have our title, we have our message, and also we have our button. Create a new user, forget this user, and cancel. And now, when I tap to create this user, we must save our user. For example, okay, try to check another button. Now, when we try to create another user, login, and tap to forget this user, we clean this field. For example, how you can see, we clean this field. That means our active sheet works correctly. Okay, I try to explain how you can display and using new confirmation dialog and active sheet inside SwiftUI project. How you can see, with confirmation dialog we're using 2 properties. First property, new user object. This property will be using like our source of truth, and also within property show confirmation dialog. This property will be select if we want display or not display our confirmation dialog. How you can see, with this property we select display or not display our confirmation dialog, and this property new user we using like our source of truth. How you can see, then we use this user object inside our action parameter and also inside our message parameter. How you can see, for work with our active sheet, we're also using two properties. First, new user property and show active sheet property. But with active sheet, we can use these two properties for display our active sheet. For example, for first example, when we want to display our active sheet, we're using our user property like statement if we want to display our active sheet. For example, when we assign value to our user property, that means we want to display our active sheet. And object would hold our user property, we use it like our source of truth inside our active sheet. How you can see, this is our property, and then we use this property inside our active sheet. And also, with active sheet, we can use it our show active sheet boolean property for display our active sheet. How you can see, when we set this value to true, we can display our active sheet property. And also, how we said previously, when you try to use it active sheet in new project, SwiftUI tell you active sheet will be deprecated in future iOS version. This means, for now, better way to use it, confirmation dialog, not active sheet. This is the end of my video. In this video, I try to explain how you can use it, confirmation dialog in your SwiftUI project. And also, I show you active sheet. I show you active sheet because active sheet is old version of our confirmation dialog. This is the end. Thank you for watching.